project is by Sarah Sze, and the project's called Triple Point. And she's completely transformed the U.S. pavilion inside the Giardini.
One of the ideas that I'm interested in thinking about as seeds for each of these pieces is the idea of modeling large amounts of information. So information that are really, in the end, beyond our capacity ever to understand, like the cosmos. So you have a planetarium, you have the pendulum, like weather vanes, these models that we traditionally will always try and use to make sense of too much information to ever be able to make sense of, and really the humility of that, that experience and the wonder in it. So, this piece here is actually a model of a pendulum. It actually is a pendulum. And the whole piece is actually made by using the pendulum to form the piece. So this idea that the works are actually in themselves about behavior, about the desire to model information, rather than the individual objects themselves. This trace that's on the floor here is actually, right here, is actually the one ornament for the interior of this building. So in the rotunda, which is usually the central space, like a compass, very much like, almost like a Palladian idea of the Villa Rotunda, where you come in and you're centered. This compass is repeated, but always off-center and always floating. So this idea that information is constantly in flux, out of balance, teetering, is a very central idea to the work. It's very important to me that you feel the hand and the intimacy of the hand in the work. So you have this kind of experience of intimacy in a very public space. And I think this has to do with the idea of how we find value in experiences and in objects, and how the value of something being intimate and also being live, of that fragility of a live moment, of incident, is important in terms of making a valuable experience. And this idea that each of the pieces here is a discovery, that it's unexpected, is very important. That as you move through the spaces, they reveal themselves in a surprising way, that you didn't expect the next thing, and that your process of seeing is actually one of discovery.
That you could spend a week here or maybe a month and still be discovering things. Sarah's work is very deceptive. It seems like it's an accumulation of found objects and random, but in fact it's carefully studied. It's almost like a poem on many levels, so that each layer of objects really has a particular message that it's conveying, not just about objects themselves, but about art making and about life itself, about nature and destruction, the organic growth of things, and also their deterioration.
The relationship of chaos to beauty, I think it's a very, very central idea. And I think actually in this piece, it's sort of, in some ways, very much on the nose in terms of this idea that there's this kind of mesmeric beauty that is inevitable with the pendulum, but there's this constant anxiety of the potential for something to go wrong. So this sort of beauty, but with the fragility, and the eventuality that these things are really time-based, that you're looking at something in a moment of time, so you see its growth and you imagine its eventual death.